Intuitive wisdom.
Ease and relaxation. Lightness.
Transformational, enlightening, and magical.
Hi, I'm Lavinia Plonka, and I've been in movement my whole life, as have you. Moshe Feldenkrais, the founder of the Feldenkrais Method, once said, "Movement is life. Without movement, life is unthinkable." And probably impossible. We're always in movement. Even when you're lying down, the breath continues to move, the heart continues to beat. I meet so many people my age who live on painkillers, are facing joint replacement surgeries, wear stronger and stronger eyeglasses, and find their world is getting smaller, their limitations larger. "I'm just slowing down," is a common comment. While it's true, we're all on a one-way street, we don't have to sacrifice quality of life so quickly. Recent scientific research shows that the brain can keep learning and growing, and one of the most effective ways to keep the brain healthy, as well as the rest of you, is through movement. Feldenkrais lessons are not like typical exercise. Exercise is wonderful, of course, especially if you enjoy it. But for many people, especially as they get older, it becomes frustrating to compensate for the various aches and pains that come with age. People find themselves reading or watching TV as they pedal or tromp on treadmills in order to distract themselves from the boredom or discomfort of the activity. It's like trying to separate your body from your mind. But science is beginning to recognize that your body is your mind and your mind is your body. After all, your mind isn't floating outside of your body, or at least I hope it's not. And your brain is receiving, processing, and sending information nonstop, connected to every single function and sensation, from pleasure to pain. So the best way to improve your well-being is to do movement that is pleasant and bring your brain to the party. Therefore, if you change the way you move, you may change the way you think, act, and feel.
I've learned to slow down and that I don't need to be like a winner all the time. I can just be here now.
There are no limitations to what you can do. The stories that we have about our bodies and those limitations, they just don't matter anymore.
I've been a movement professional for my entire career, starting in the theater, where I was privileged to perform for over 25 years. During those years, I was endlessly fascinated with how each human develops a distinctive personality, using basically the same skeleton. As much fun as physical performing was, it took a toll on my body. Years of dive rolls, slapstick, intense training, dance classes left me in constant pain, and I wasn't even 40. That's when I discovered the Feldenkrais Method. The results were so remarkable, I enrolled in a training. What I learned was not just a method to relieve my own pain, which it did, but a whole new way of thinking about the human experience. Moshe Feldenkrais often said that he didn't teach movement, he taught learning. Each lesson, whether for a group or one-on-one, is a learning experience for both me and my students.
A body awareness that I feel is really important to me.
It's an easy way for me to feel okay about movement, probably to just keep my body aligned and youthful.
Feldenkrais practitioners don't fix or diagnose. We don't just look at an injury or a pain in isolation. Instead, we look at everything. Each person who walks into my studio has a unique story written in her carriage, the way she walks, the expression on her face, that is part of the story of her pain. A professional kayaker's frozen shoulder is completely different from a computer desk jockey's frozen shoulder, which again is completely different from a flautist. And besides their professions, their frozen shoulders carry history, training, fear, failure, old injuries, and so much more. So I work with the entire person, teaching him to become aware of ways to improve that are safe and pleasurable. There are no formulas. The aim of every relationship is to teach people how to do or be what they want. The lessons are practical as well as pleasurable. Even though in a group class everyone is following the same instructions, each person is doing it according to his interests and abilities. Each person has her own aha moment, or frustration, or question. By doing movements that don't demand performance or perfection, just awareness, the nervous system has time to learn new habits, more functional ways of moving. Feldenkrais believed that every person has a unique learning style, and I've tried to create a variety of options for your enjoyment. Never heard of Feldenkrais? That's okay. You can learn more about it just by clicking a link. I invite you to dive in today, or just dip your toes, check out some of my success stories, try a few things, and write to me. I learn from your questions.
I think that it has added to the awareness component of my life.
I noticed after that lesson that I could see more, like my peripheral vision had widened. And so I became aware that somehow through the way I live my life, I was limiting my sight.
I had my first lesson 25 years ago. I walked in with a cane. I walked out without it. I'm still moving. Even though I've had multiple sclerosis for 57 years, I still move. I move in my bed, I move out of my bed, I move in my clothes, I move out of them, I move through the water, I move into my car, out of it. I'm still moving. I may not be walking, but I'm moving, and I have no pain.
Would you like to live a more enjoyable, pain-free life without drugs or surgery? Would you like to have more flexibility and better balance?